hold the sunscreen. Back to school season is upon us. So before you carry on with your summertime fun in the backyard sprinkler with the kids, we need to have a quick reality check. I know, it feels like summer still has a long way to go, but the reality is our kids need to be school ready in 2 to 4 weeks from now. Allow me to translate. If you try to fool yourself into believing that this is just a matter of adding a few more items to next week's Target shopping list, you're mistaken. The back to school season has the potential to wreak havoc on your sense of control, ability to stay calm, and those precious last weeks of summer with your kids. In this week's episode, I'm going to help you go into August with the mindset you need to be honest about the tricky weeks that lie ahead of you and what to do about it so it feels more manageable. If that's what you need more of in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. I'm Erin Christopoulos, a mother of two and teacher-turned-mom strategist who puts the pieces of mom life together so you don't have to. I get that you're short on time and don't have the capacity to figure out everything on your own, which is why I'm here to help you get clear on where to put your focus while protecting your time and energy so you can actually enjoy these years with your little ones. I'm ditching the overwhelming and unrealistic one-size-fits-all tactics and replacing them with an approach that's practical and personal, because I believe your family is one of a kind with its own qualities and values that deserve an adaptable approach, offering support and encouragement where you need it most. From honest conversations and mindset shifts to practical tips and sustainable strategies, consider this your customizable guide to mom life. With the tools and resources you need at your fingertips, you'll finally have the confidence and clarity you need to bring more intention and ease to everyday life so that you and your family thrive. This is the Mom Life Handbook. I'm a realist, and I know that sometimes it can really ruin the fun for other people. We were away a few weeks ago to the mountains with some friends, and we had 5 kids in tow. It was me, Jason, and the other family's dad out for a little afternoon adventure. We had planned on taking the gondola ride up to one of the peaks, take the mountain coaster for a spin. But when we got there, we parked and we got out of the car, I looked up and I said, "Looks like it's gonna rain." And both the dads immediately turned on me and accused me of being Debbie Downer. The whole rest of the weekend, all I kept hearing was, "Wah." Anytime I was being my true realist self. And I'm here to own it. It's totally fine. Someone has to be the bearer of bad news. But the truth is, while it's not always easy to be honest, and yes, sometimes I get ragged for it, it's important. It's really easy when we're approaching busy seasons of mom life to just bury our heads in the sand, tell ourselves, I'll figure it out when I get there, or it won't be that bad. But then we're just setting ourselves up for unnecessary overwhelm and frustration. So I'm here to break down 5 reasons why the back to school season is so tricky. That way you feel more prepared. You can anticipate what lies ahead. And I will also share simple ways that you can start making it less overwhelming. I'll also be sharing 2 really helpful resources along the way that will offer tactical support as you go. So, as much as I am bringing you some of the less exciting news regarding mom life, I'm also here, as always, to support you every step of the way. So let's dive in. Let's first talk about these 5 reasons why this time of year can be so hard. And I'll make it quick because no one wants to focus on the things that make mom life hard. But if you've been through this before, it's easy to forget just how much gets added to your plate as a busy mom once August rolls around. I know that as soon as I start sharing this list, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Yes, that's the worst. Or, oh, thank goodness you told me because I completely would have missed that. So let's go. First, you're going to find that as we enter August, your capacity is going to become more limited. First of all, A lot of us have childcare that really finishes up in early August. So if you've been depending on camps, those are probably ending. If you had someone coming to your house a few days a week to help with the kids, they might be a college student and heading back to school. You're also going to find that those weeks right before school starts are a really popular time to get out of town. On top of getting ready for school, on top of having limited childcare, you might also be trying to prepare for time away with your family, which is another full-time job sometimes. So you start seeing how these start really piling up fast and taking away from whatever limited capacity you already had. Plus, in the weeks leading up to school, there are often back to school events. So those even just take some extra coordination. I know that when my kids were in preschool or in independent schools, there were often extra play dates, extra parent meetings or meet and greets. Those things really fill your calendar up quickly as well. In addition to having a limited capacity, there are all these extra back to school to-dos. You're going to be running extra errands, there's going to be extra spending, and that can be really stressful. You're buying new school supplies, buying new clothes. Shoes have probably been outgrown. Your kids probably need new outerwear for the fall. You'll be buying new gear like backpacks, lunch boxes, sports equipment. Not to mention there's tuition costs or extracurricular spending. You might also have to be investing in before or after school childcare expenses. These things add up quickly, and not only do they put a strain on your bank account, it can also mean a strain on you as you're running around trying to find all these new things that your kids need before the first day of school. And to help you out, I've put together a quick little guide of 5 back to school tasks that you're probably overlooking. There are so many tasks, it's easy to forget some. So I picked my top 5 where every year I've caught myself like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot that. Put it together in a little checklist for you. You can go grab that for free at momlifehandbook.com/school checklist, or it's linked in the show notes. It's just a really simple checklist to help make sure you're not missing out on anything super important. And it'll give you that peace of mind knowing that you're setting your kids up for success, and it'll probably help you spur your own list that will help you kind of start thinking about, all right, what else do I need to get done? What else do I want to make sure that I don't miss? You're also going to find that as you go into August and then you go into September, there are a few shifts here in terms of your family's rhythms, your routines. You're going to find that your mornings look different. You know, the kids are going to have to get up at a different time. You might have to shift who's helping the kids get out the door in the morning. There's also a new evening routine. You know, after school activities start, you might have different times for dinner. What the kids need to do after school is going to look different in terms of maybe they'll have homework or at least some reading that they have to do. You're going to be coordinating drop off and pickup times. You're going to be trying to figure out, how am I going to get my kid to do their homework without a battle every day? Taking the time to really shift into those new rhythms and settle into them really takes a lot of time, effort, and intention. And it can really cause a lot of extra strain as you are moving into those new rhythms and routines. So anticipate those as well. Additionally, you're going to be managing a whole lot more communication. We're talking about all the paperwork that's coming home from school, all the emails you have to manage. You might have to coordinate with a pediatrician or allergist or other specialist services within the school, like special education, health services, nutrition services. You have to start communicating with caregivers about what the school year is going to look like, and also keep up with all the notifications related to your child's extracurriculars. It's a lot. And then the fifth thing that really ramps up for us as we go into the school year is that calendar coordination. So the summers are great because they're often a lot more predictable in terms of they're pretty open, they're free. You really do fall into a very easy rhythm and routine because there's not as much going on. But then you hit the new school year and suddenly there's a lot to manage. So you're going to have to start really spending a lot of time with your day planner and making sure that you're coordinating the calendar with anyone who's providing childcare, especially if you have someone who comes to your home or helps with pickup at school. You're going to have to make sure that you have all the details about who's going where for which after school activities and when. And then you also want to make sure that you've got your eye on the school year calendar, because there's going to be unexpected days off, the holidays, there's breaks, there's teacher institute days, there's late starts. There's just so much that goes into the calendar management. So when you take all those things and you put them all together and you cram them into these next 2 to 4 weeks, you're really up against a lot once you start considering your limited capacity for childcare, all the extra errands and spending that you're having to do, the new rhythms and routines that you're falling into, managing that communication with everyone else in your child's support network, and coordinating your calendar. It's a lot. So let's talk about what you can do to really start simplifying your approach. The first thing I want you to do is just carve out 20 minutes and create a master list of what needs to get done. Now, if you haven't done this before, that could be tricky. If you have done this before, you probably have a pretty good baseline understanding of what needs to happen. But either way, no matter where you're approaching this from, after you've spent some serious time and consideration coming up with everything that's on that to-do list, I want you to keep revisiting it and make sure it's at your fingertips so that if another thing pops into your head, it's easy to add it to that list. Because if you don't, you're going to forget it. And then you're going to be scrambling frantically to make sure that you account for it last minute. And we want to avoid that as much as possible. Now, if you want more support in walking through all of those steps as a teacher and as a mom who has sent her kids to school for the past 6 years, I have already put together my own master checklist, and I would be happy to share it with you. I've put it inside of a bundle that I put together for the back to school season. This bundle includes everything that you need to have a stress-free back to school season, from a personalized checklist that aligns with your lifestyle so that you stay organized and on a timeline that actually meets your needs, to an on-demand tutorial library for extra support with me side by side, right along with you, and a shopping list to help you find the best deals, where I'm sharing my absolute favorite gear that's actually going to last your kids the whole school year long. And this is going to save you so much time and headache. I know you're busy, so I want to make it as easy as possible for you to get started. This bundle's the perfect way to start your back to school season off on the right foot. I went ahead and linked it in the show notes for you, so make sure you go check it out and be sure to grab it soon, because it's only available through August, and the earlier you buy, the more perks you get. But you also have then the added benefit of having time on your side to spread out those tasks and those to-dos to get it all done at a more leisurely pace. So go check that out. It's linked in the show notes. And then once you have a list, whether it's one that you made or you use one of the ones that I created, I want you to go through and start figuring out which tasks you can delegate. Who can help you lighten the load? Because when you start looking at that list, you're going to say, there's no way I'm going to get this done in the amount of time that I have and the capacity that I have. So it's really easy then to find the people and sources of support in your life who you can turn to and say, I'm feeling overwhelmed by this list of tasks that I have to do for the back to school season. Can you help me watch the kids for a few hours while I run out and check a few of these things off? Or can you help me fill in the family calendar so that we're on the same page about what's coming up in the next 2 months? Whatever it is, don't hesitate to ask for that help. You are not the only one who is responsible for your kids and for your family, and it is totally expected that you're going to need some help. So don't hesitate to delegate. Ask for some support. And then make sure that for the tasks that you are responsible for, go ahead and just pencil in some dedicated time each week that you can then use to check items off of your to-do list. The more that you can kind of single task and focus in on those particular items that are on your back to school list, the faster you can get through them all, rather than constantly switching between everything else that you have going on in your life as a mom. And then lastly, I've got to say it because I know you don't want to hear it, but you need to. You need to carve out protected time to mitigate the effects of stress from having so much more on your plate. I know it's counterintuitive. You are doing the math on how little time you have and how much time it's going to take you to get through all these things, but you are going to burn yourself out if you try to put the pedal to the metal 24/7. So make sure that you're carving out just a few minutes each day or a 30-minute block once a week, whatever it takes. Make sure that you are carving out time to protect yourself against the effects of stress. And I will tell you, this is so important that I put together a free bonus podcast episode. It's a part of the back to school bundle. I walk you through 10 ways to get the stress out of the back to school season so that you can tap into it whenever you feel like August is just getting a little too angsty. I think you'll even find that maybe just tuning into that bonus episode will help you relieve some of the stress because you'll be able to relate to the fact that there are other moms out there who are feeling the same way as you. But even still, the strategies are so practical. You're going to find that you can tap into them at any moment's notice and will just help you take a little pause before you keep working through everything you have going on in the month ahead. So be sure to grab that bonus when you sign up to get the back to school bundle. Again, that is linked in the show notes. So be sure to grab that ASAP. So we started this episode with me fully owning that I am a realist. I broke down those 5 reasons that August is going to be stressy. You've got that limited capacity, you're running extra errands, you're spending more money, you have new rhythms and routines to fall into, you're managing so much more communication, and you're trying to coordinate your calendar. But I hope you're also walking away with some ideas to help you mitigate the busyness by creating a master task list or using one of the ones that I've created for you inside the bundle, that you're delegating tasks rather than trying to do them all yourself. You're scheduling in time for these additional to-dos that are not a part of your everyday life, and that you're protecting time for stress relief. Remember that I have other resources to help make this easier for you. If you just want to make sure that you aren't missing anything, start by downloading that checklist of 5 back-to-school tasks you're probably overlooking. You can grab it at momlifehandbook.com/school checklist. And if you want me to do the heavy lifting, hand over my timelines, checklists, and step-by-step support, be sure to grab that back-to-school bundle at momlifehandbook.com/back-to-school. And as we wrap up this week's episode, remember, mom life is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's to leading with purpose and intention as you simplify mom life in the week ahead. You've just finished another episode of the Mom Life Handbook podcast. Remember to check out the episode description for all the important links and highlights from today's show. While you're there, tap the subscribe button so that new episodes are always at your fingertips. Before you go, I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts about the show. It takes as little as 30 seconds to leave a review, and your honest thoughts help me create a better show and help other moms discover it too. And if this episode really helped you out, go ahead and hit the share button to text it to a friend or share it on social media. You never know who in your life might benefit from a little extra support. Don't forget, there are lots of ways to stay connected beyond the podcast. Head over to momlifehandbook.com for additional resources or to learn about how to work with me. And be sure to follow along on Instagram at momlifehandbook. Send me a DM to say hey or to share your thoughts on today's episode. Connecting with you personally is what I really love most. And just in case you need to hear it today, you're doing an incredible job. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but you're here, learning how to be better and do better. Keep working to bring more intention and ease into your life, and know that I'm right here cheering you on. You're creating a beautiful journey for you and your family. I am so proud of you.